there. Happy New Year. I hope you had a wonderful holiday season, that you are rested and rejuvenated, and you are ready for an amazing 2018. I know I am. I actually was off for the last almost 2 full weeks, enjoying some family time. But I was so excited to get back to work today. I couldn't even sleep last night. Today, we are kicking off the new year with this first of my weekly lives, talking about your goals. I'm assuming you're either working on them or already have them completed, your goals for the new year, and whether or not they are aligned with your message. If you don't know me or don't know me well, my name is Carrie Price. I'm a brand messaging coach helping ambitious women business owners find and own the words to stand out, be heard, and make your message roar. And I am so excited to be back to work. Literally, I couldn't sleep last night. I will admit, I think part of the reason was because I just was ready to get back to work. It was really hard for me. It was harder than I thought to step away for like 12 days for some time off. And so I was ready to get back to work. I do think part of the reason I couldn't sleep was because I actually did anticipate working a little bit, doing some planning and some behind the scenes work over the break. But my niece and nephew were visiting and I completely unplugged, and it was great. So thank you so much for those of you who are joining me live. Hi, Terry. Happy New Year. I hope you had a wonderful holiday and that you are ready to make 2018 yours. All right, let me jump over to my notes because you guys know I don't want to miss a thing. Okay, so I wanted to talk today about your goals and whether they are in alignment with your message. Now, at first glance, when you saw that topic, maybe you were unsure what that means. So we're going to talk about that today. Hey, Gail, Happy New Year. So good to see you too. Thank you for joining me live today. So let's just talk a little bit about goals because I'm assuming you're working on them or have them completed. And it's not just a thing that we do at the beginning of the year, but it's a great time to take a step back, look ahead for what we want out of the new year. And then I don't know about you, I break that down into what do I want to achieve in this first quarter, and then for the month of January, and then I break that down even further. So there's a lot to think about when we're setting our goals, especially when we look out for a year, right? So you're probably thinking about some key metrics because you've probably heard about SMART goals, right? And I wrote it down just so I didn't get them wrong. A SMART goal is something that is specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. Now, you may use the SMART goal method to think about what your goals are, but I'm willing to bet that at least one, if not some of your goals are going to be based on metrics, right? Maybe it's a revenue goal that you want to hit this year, or it's a number of clients that you want to serve, or, you're wanting to launch a new offer, whatever that is. You've put some goals out there, right? I'm willing to guess there are some metrics related to that goal. And the idea of goals is wonderful, not bad at all. We're all doing that. But if you're not thinking about your goal in conjunction with your message, you might be missing an opportunity to keep everything in your business in alignment. And so let's talk a little bit more about that and how your message comes into play with your goals. All right. So for those of you who haven't heard me define them before, let me just define a few terms that I use so that we're all on the same page. All right. And let's start with what your brand is. Your brand is your reputation as it's perceived in the mind of the market. Like, that's the simplest way that I can define brand. It's what people think about you. You control and shape that through your marketing, right? Marketing is all of these, what we call brand touch point opportunities, all the different ways that people encounter you. Maybe it's a post that you put out there. It's an email. It's interacting with you. It's seeing you do a live video or a YouTube video. Every interaction with you, those are all marketing opportunities. You're controlling, building, shaping the reputation, which is your brand. And the words that you use in your marketing is your message. Right? Your message gives you all the tools that you need to make your marketing effective. Now, your message is more than just your words, though, and that's the piece I want to talk about today. When I help my clients build their messaging foundation, yes, one of the outputs, like the key output you get is your one-of-a-kind words and phrases that are going to help you show up in the market. The way that you position yourself uniquely against the competition, right? In order to really develop a compelling message, though, we've got to do some work. We analyze your business from I call it the inside out and the outside in. You're looking at everything that makes you unique and special, what your talents and services are. We look at your competitive landscape to see how you can be positioned, right? And all along the way, in everything that you do to develop your message, I challenge and push my clients to focus. That happens to be my word of the year, but focus in terms of really owning your area of expertise and how you show up for your clients and what it is that you do. So focusing on your ideal client and letting that be a niche or a niche, however you say that, letting that be focused so that you can speak really specifically to the people that you will serve best and that you want to attract into your business. Focusing on what your service offering is or your product offering if you're a product-based business, but really focusing on one area of expertise. This is the part that makes a lot of people uncomfortable, but there is great power and strength in honing in on your area of expertise. And I've talked about this before and I'll talk about it again. I'll just chat about it briefly. When you try to do a lot of things, you're having to put a bigger, broader message out there. There's less for people to remember about you, right? There isn't that thing that sticks and you aren't an expert in the thing that people are looking for, right? People are more and more turning to expert focused help, less generalist type work. I mean, even in your health, right? If you had a problem, you would want to seek out a specialist. You might start with a generalist, you're a general practitioner, but you're very quickly going to want to see a specialist who knows exactly what that problem is and how to help you solve it. When you get that focus and clarity in your message, your words then get stronger because you show up as an expert that people recognize instantly. There isn't this question of, can she or he help me with that? Can you, are you really good at that thing? So you focus in on your ideal client. You focus in on your area of expertise. You focus in on how you deliver on that area of expertise, at least in the beginning. Right? At least in those first few years. In 2017, I did a little bit of pulling back on the number of types of services and how to work with me to really hone in on what I know delivers results for my clients, right? And I'm going all in on that in 2018. That work was imperative for my message so that I could show up as an expert in brand messaging to help you find and own your words so that you don't blend in with everybody else, you don't sound like anybody else, and you truly can make your message roar. I'm doubling down on that, right? All in on that. So as I got that clarity in my message, my goals are now in alignment with that message. And what does that do? That allows everything that I do in my business to be more focused, be more concentrated, be more powerful, be more effective, driving to better results, right? So because I know who I am, who I serve, how I serve them, my goals can be in alignment with that. I'm not, for example, going to have a goal to launch a new product offering this year. Because I'm really lasering in on who it is I want to serve and how I know I best serve them. That's with my current signature program and the different ways that you can get support and coaching with me. I know that is the best way that I can serve the clients that I am attracting. So my goals will be around how many clients I want to be able to serve this year. And I positioned myself in 2017. I did a lot of work in 2017 to enable the goals that I want to achieve. I want to serve at least 100 new clients this year. And you know what? I'll share the rest of my goals inside my free Facebook group, the Messaging Den, later this week. But when you start to think about truly what your message is, what you want to be known for, because your message is what you're going to use in your marketing, which is what's going to control and shape your brand, which is what's going to position you in the market, right? All of that is a strategic foundation. Your goals should be in alignment with this strategic foundation. If you do your goals in isolation of that or without a clear understanding, your goals aren't as strong of a guide for you throughout the year, right? I have a strong messaging foundation. All of my goals are in alignment with me delivering on that message that I'm putting out into the world. And I know then that every action I take this year is going to march me closer to those goals, right? If I wasn't clear and I put some goals out there and I didn't know, like, how am I going to deliver that? Who am I trying to serve? What is it I'm trying to do? It might make it harder for me to achieve the goals. You can still set the goals, but knowing how to achieve them and actually attain those is stronger, right? When it's all together. So what questions do you guys have about that? I'm going to take a sip of my tea. It's freezing here, not in my studio, but freezing here in Texas. Not to some parts of the country I know are getting it a lot worse than we are, but for us, we are in the 20s today. We are going to be below freezing for something like 68 hours, which is a lot for us. So let me take a sip of my tea. Nahid, Evalata, Sovan, so good to see you guys. Happy New Year. Thank you so much for joining me. What questions do you guys have about setting your goals? And tell me, have you set them already? Are you still working on them? Do you set goals at the new year? And I do goals. I don't do resolutions. And I do a word of the year. I shared that a couple weeks ago. So my word of the year for 2018 is focus. Staying kind of eyes on the prize for my own goals, focused in my message, focused in who I serve. I mean, it'd be kind of silly for me not to have focus be my word of the year, because that's one of the messages that I really deliver to my clients, right? The stronger you focus, the easier it is for some of those things, for your marketing to work, you've got to stick with something, right? So let me know in the comments, where you are in your goal planning for the year. And again, I'm going to share all of my goals that I've set for myself inside my free group, the Messaging Den. You can search for the Messaging Den right here on Facebook, or just go to themessagingden.com. I think I have the little URL right there. You can go to themessagingden.com. I want you to come and share your goals in my group so that I can check in with you throughout the year and see how you're doing. I'll be sharing mine in the group later this week. I'll jump on and do a Facebook Live and share all of my goals, and what it is I'm working towards and why. But I'd love to know where you are with the goal planning process. And do you set SMART goals? Do you use another kind of framework to help you set your goals? Ooh, Gail, great question. Okay, hold on. I want to show Gail's question because this is amazing. Let's see. There we go. Gail asks, have you ever worked with setting goals for achieving specific results for your clients? That is, for those 100 new clients, what will they achieve as a result of working with you? Brilliant question, Gail. I love it so much. So here's the thing with me setting goals for my clients, or what my clients will achieve. I know that the clients that do the work get amazing results. They've all shared with me, how much faster they're getting new clients more regularly and all of that. It's hard for me to set goals on my clients' results because they do have to do the work. So there's a little bit of that, that's out of my control, right? Like I'm totally accessible and available. I mean, my clients now get lifetime access to me in a Facebook group, monthly Q&A coaching calls with hot seat coaching, and then they can upgrade to get more support from me, but I kind of can't make them do the work. So I don't personally set goals for my clients' success, but I give like 1,001% and like 1,000 different ways that I can support them in achieving that. But since that's completely out of my control, whether they do the work and implement, I don't set specific goals around that. But I love the idea of that. And it's partly probably because of the type of coach I am, right? I'm a brand messaging coach, helping you really define your words, and then you've got to implement it. And I also support you through the implementation of that in marketing. But, for some other types of coaches, you might have different goal. A sales coach, for example, might have a goal of helping their clients achieve a 20% increase in close rate or something like that. For me, I don't personally set a goal, although I would love to say my goal is that 100% of my clients see a certain result. I just know that, people need their own, sometimes they need longer than the 3 months that the program is, or, there are different factors that go into the success that they can achieve. But, great question, Gail. I love it. Yeah. And you're welcome. You're welcome. So Vaughn says, I stopped doing New Year's resolutions a year ago. I actually scheduled time to do my goals today. Awesome. Yeah. I stopped with New Year's resolutions a long time ago too. The thing for me about those is I know it's a mental block, but I stopped setting resolutions because I had a history of not sticking with a resolution. And I'm sure many of us have had that, right? Where you're lucky if you make it through January with a resolution. There's something about calling it a New Year's resolution that, I don't know if you get like overly aggressive in your goal and then you taper off and you don't do well and then you just like throw in the towel. I know that's a mental block thing, but I had to stop calling things resolutions, and I make goals that are longer term. Like I make 1 year goals and then I back in and break it down so that I don't feel like, personally, I don't say like, I'm going to lose 10 pounds a month, or, I'm going to lose 10 pounds in January. I don't say that. I might have a goal for the year, and then I back into like, well, what does that mean I want to do in January? And okay, did I make it or not? And how do I adjust? So by giving myself a longer term view of what I want to achieve, I also, all of that went in just to the reframing of how I do my goal setting. Hey, Cora. So good to see you. Thank you for joining me. Happy New Year. All right. Cora says, and I'll just share it here. Cora says, we can set goals, but the problem is keeping the establishing deadlines. We set deadlines, but then they come and are gone. The business moves fast and we end up moving these goals down the list. How do you keep these goals at the top when the clients have needs and then our goals will change or get lost? Another amazing question, Cora. So here's what I've learned the hard way, because I used to do the same thing too. I'm a pretty ambitious person. I also really suck at estimating how long something takes. I've had this problem my whole life, and I don't know why it's taken me this long to like really, really understand that. So my goals are maybe more realistic these days than they used to be, because you have to have time to serve your clients. You have to have time to do your own marketing. Like you have to have time for like the regular everyday stuff in your business, even if you're outsourcing, right? I've started building a team and I outsource a lot now. Starting next month, I'll be outsourcing 40 hours a month of work that I don't have to do, but there's still a lot I have to do, right? So, I really am trying to get better at being realistic at what I can achieve. I don't know about you, but I'm tired of like setting these big goals and either not meeting them or working like a maniac nights and weekends to make up to achieve those things. So know that when you're sitting down to plan your goals and what you think you're wanting to do, you can't give 40 hours a week to that. You can't even give 20 hours a week to that. You probably can only give, let's call it 4 to 8 hours a week of time, like dedicated on these projects, because you're doing your regular marketing, which is probably a big chunk of your time, right? Like you're getting out there. I know it's a big chunk of mine, marketing, doing Facebook Live, posting, showing up in other places, having calls with people just to get to know them, having sales calls. I mean, all that stuff takes a lot of time. And providing amazing service to my clients. Like the last thing he wants to like sign the client and then not have the time to deliver for them, right? So I've really tried to get more realistic on it's probably 4 to 8 hours a week that I block out in my calendar to work on those projects that move my business forward. And I block out time of like, these are the days I do client calls and these are the times that I do sales calls. These are the times that I do admin stuff. Mondays and Fridays are generally internal working on my business time, whether that's content creation or working on, updating slides for the webinar, like marketing, internal, like marketing related stuff. And then Fridays, I'm usually doing some wrap up activities, admin type tasks. Friday afternoons, I try and like wrap up a little early. So, you can't if your goals are too big, it's exactly what'll happen. You'll just keep slipping and then that gets frustrating and then we give up. And I did that for far too many years, personally, in my corporate career, and even last year in my business. I set some really unrealistic goals and deadlines that literally I'm like the worst boss I've ever had. That's how bad it was. And I've vowed not to do that this year. So yeah, definitely, yeah, Cora, being realistic is key. And I know that's so hard for us, like entrepreneurial brains, like we think big or we want to think big and we want to like do all the things all at once. But we've got to be able to get really focused. My word this year is focused, like for a reason. I need that reminder every single day to stay focused and not be distracted by all the things so that I can achieve my goals. Yeah, there's a lot of interruptions too, which is an issue. Yeah, Cora, totally. And you're so welcome. I'm glad this is all hitting home because I'm in the exact same boat. I totally get this. Lots of interruptions. I had to start. In fact, I just this morning I got up. I spend my mornings, taking care of stuff that like my VA or my graphic designer need and like reviewing my to-do list. And I added a whole bunch of to-dos today, not just due for today, but like I have to get stuff out of my head. And one of the tasks that I'm doing later today is blocking my weekly calendar and doing very focused scheduled time on when I jump on social media. I don't know about you, but for me, that's the biggest time suck. I will jump on thinking I'm only going to spend 30 minutes. I'm going to check in on my free group. I'm going to check in on my paid groups that support my clients. And I'm going to check in on the couple groups where I'm engaging. And next thing you know, like an hour or two has gone by. So I'm actually working on my new weekly schedule where I block the time to do that. It'll be twice a day. I'll do it, but like time blocked. Whether it's an hour or a half hour here, and then turn off social media and turn off the notifications. When I sit down to do my focus time, I now treat it like client time. Because like if I'm on a call with a client, I don't have any disruptions. My phone is on do not disturb even right now. All my notifications get turned off. I shut everything down and it's just me and my client. Because I mean, they get like all my time. I've started doing that with my internal working time, treating it like client time. And that's helping because I'm very easily distracted with email just came in or, somebody's messaged me on Facebook Messenger. So, really learning this year to better protect my time to minimize that. Oh, Cora, so you have a partner and she has another business and that seems to interrupt your vision too. Yeah. So it's interesting that you say that. This is a very similar problem that a lot of entrepreneurs have about like doing multiple things. You absolutely can do it. It takes a lot of discipline and a lot of work, because for everything that you have to do for one business, you have to also do it for the other. And when if they're different businesses and you're showing up and you're trying to be seen as an expert, and like people are like, wait, which one are you today? Like there's a lot to juggle there. You totally can do it. It's just harder. It takes more work. So, and that's why, again, where my clients who come to me who are really struggling with like being seen as that expert and really showing up, the best advice I have is focus on one thing. Get really good at that one thing. Be known as the expert for that one thing, and you can expand later. But I mean, you guys, we only have so many hours in the day, and we're all working so hard already, right? Like we're giving all of our time and energy into building and marketing our businesses, serving our clients and fulfilling, whatever it is that we're selling. Having more than one area of focus just makes that so much harder. Okay, Cora. Yeah, you chunk out time too. That's so good. That's so good. All right. So Vaughn asks, what do you do or use to keep track of the breakdown of your goals? Oh, great question, Siobhan. I'm actually still finalizing my tracking, because that's something I'm not really great at yet, to be honest. Like, all the metrics and like all the things to, my Facebook ad effectiveness and where people are coming from and like sourcing and all of that. But two things that I use right now and that I'm building out for my tracking. So to track all of my work, everything that I do myself or my team, I use Asana. I'm a huge Asana fan. And I know it's not for everybody. Some people prefer Trello and some people prefer other things. I am a list girl. I stopped using a notebook. I stopped using a notebook, but I'm the girl that like, I make boxes on the notepad just so I can check stuff off. And I will add stuff to my list just to check it off if it wasn't on my list before. Like I'm really motivated by the task list. And so Asana is a very list-based view, but like you can have nesting. And you know what? I'll do an updated Asana overview video. I did one a year ago, and the way I use it now is totally different. So I'll do a video one of these days and share with you guys inside the messaging den. I'll share with you guys a sneak peek behind the scenes of how I use Asana. Maybe I'll do that later this week. But this week will just be like a fun, like sharing with you guys my goals and how I'm tracking that. But I use Asana and we've got projects and we have template projects that we copy for things we do over and over. And there's subtasks, and I love the way Asana works. Gail, you like Asana too. And I love the list, like my list. What do I need to do next? Check off the list. So I use Asana for that. In terms of tracking how I'm doing with some of my number-based goals, so I shared with you 100 new clients this year, and I've got things broken down, the other metrics I'm tracking. I'm using a spreadsheet to do that. I started building a spreadsheet out in December to track some of the key conversion metrics on my master classes. So I've got all these formulas built in where I just plug in the numbers and it's doing all the ratio calculations for me and letting me know what my numbers are, to help me get a better hold on that. And so I'm going to be expanding that for the other things. I've got, list growth, group growth. I've got all, different kinds of things I'm tracking. And so I will be doing that in a spreadsheet, so I can see my monthly progress on that. Yeah, Cora, you guys use Asana too. Yeah. Love Asana. Oh, Nahid. Am I saying your name right? So beautiful. Okay. Nahid asks a great question. How much time do you spend to get things down from out of your head? I can really get bogged down in the living in my head and then lose track of the important stuff. Oh, you guys have good questions today. Yeah. So, I try and get stuff out of my head as quickly as possible, to be honest, because if I try and hold on to it, because I'm 45. I'm 45 now, and aging is interesting. I don't remember things as well as I used to. So I've got to get stuff out of my head as quickly as possible. Otherwise, I concentrate so hard on trying to remember it, like I'm not present in the moment. So I have a notebook with me everywhere. There's one by my bed, one in my purse. There's always one on my desk. I even have a little one today. I always keep a notebook everywhere with it and a pen. within arm's reach. And then I try and sit down at least once a day and get all of that out and into Asana. So I take my notebooks and sit down. Like this morning, I was holding a bunch of things in my head that I wanted to do today. And I'm like, that's silly, Carrie. Open up Asana, drop them all in, get them out of your head. One, so I know I don't forget them. And two, then I can let them go and then just be present. Like if I didn't do that, honestly, right now during this whole live, I'd be thinking about all the things I need to do after the live. And I'm really trying not to multitask as much. I used to always, so funny how we learn things over time. I used to always sort of pride myself in being able to multitask, but you really are less efficient when you do that. And it's called context switching. You have to like switch back and forth to different tasks. And studies have shown you lose up to 20 minutes every time, like you're bouncing back and forth. So I really try and get focused on one thing at a time and give it my 100% attention so that I can get it done faster and then move on. So I have to get things out of my head, like, really fast. So Vaughn, you work by list too. Yeah. Okay. I'll do a video inside the messaging done this week. How I use Asana. I'll show you guys a sneak peek on the inside. Cora, you and I are kindred spirits. You have notebooks too to brain dump and transfer stuff to Asana. Yep. It's the best way. Get it out of your head. Get it out. Okay. I'm just going to scroll back through and see if I missed any other comments. You guys are awesome today. Thank you so much for being here and joining me live. It's so much more fun to do lives with people on with you and such a great fun way to start the new year. I'm so excited for all that this year is going to hold for all of us. And if you are in my group, please go into the group and there's a post. I'll add a hashtag to it to make it easier to find, but I'll bump it up to the top of the group today. What things you guys want to hear more about. I'm live every Tuesday at 11 a.m. Eastern right here on my business page, and I've got some topics queued up for this quarter. But if there are things that you would really like to know more about, drop those in on those posts, that post in my group so I can get it added to the schedule. Coming up, if not next week, or maybe it'll be the week after, maybe it'll be next week because it's a big thing. I'm going to be talking about how to avoid Facebook jail. Some of you may have experienced, if you were in the group the week before Christmas when we were doing some of the fun and games, some people's comments were getting marked as spam. Facebook's really cracking down on what they're considering spam or engagement bait. And so I think maybe next, and one of my clients got banned from Facebook groups, including her own, for a week. Last week. I think she's out of Facebook jail today. But I wanted to talk about authentic engagement and how to start to avoid, I don't know exactly what their algorithm is, but there are some things I think that might make it easier to avoid Facebook jail. So I think I'll talk about that next week. Let me know if that sounds like a good topic. Oh, Nahid, you're so glad I spoke about the multitask myth. Yeah. I bought into that for like most of my life that, oh, look, I can multitask. I can do all these things and it makes me smarter and better. Oh my gosh. It really does slow you down when you're able just to focus on one thing. You can knock that out better because you're present. You're all there, right? Cora says, thank you. Awesome tips and encouragement. You're so welcome. Thank you for your great questions and for all of your feedback. Oh, Fran brain dumps into Trello, but she adores Asana too. Yeah, Fran, I want to love Trello and I use it in a very specific way in my business. I do use Trello. But Asana is where I manage all my work. Cause the thing for me that's missing in Trello is I'm a list girl and I'm a date. I need to be able to put a date on stuff. And, Trello doesn't manage that for me very well, but I do manage a lot of my actual content, my social media content there, because that I like to see that visually and organize my posts and things like that. So I do use Trello for that, and it's really great for like loading up content from my computer and then copying and pasting it right out of Trello onto my phone. So like to post to Instagram, I just like load everything up or I always like some of my key posts, like maybe a promotion post for a freebie, I always have loaded up because if I'm surfing on my phone and there's an opportunity to share it, I just go copy paste it, grab the image right out of Trello, and I'm good to go. So I do use Trello, as well, just not for planning. Chorus is definitely more Asana tips. That's how I found you on YouTube. Oh, that's right. I think you've shared that with me. I love that. Yeah, I'm going to do an update on that video because I do use Asana differently. So I will update that. I love that that's how you found me, Cora. Fran says, so true. I do love Asana for lists and dates. Yeah, so good. So good. Cora says there is an option to use the due date feature in Trello, which transfers onto a calendar like Asana, right? Yeah, there, you can, with, I think they call it a power up in Trello, you can integrate to a calendar, like your Google Calendar, and you can use things like Zaps. If you guys use Zapier, I use that to like make my systems communicate with each other. You can use a Zap to like trigger stuff to move it to Asana. For me, like that's just too complicated. I know that all my work is in Asana. Everything I'm doing is in one place. That's where I go to check my list of what do I need to do today? What is my team waiting on for me? I don't always make my dates. I feel so bad. That's another thing I want to get better at this year for my team is getting stuff to them early so they're not waiting on me to do their part of the job. But Asana is how everything's in one place. If I have too many places to look, then none of it's effective for me. Cora, oh yeah, that's it. Okay, yeah, so using either the Google Calendar integration or Zaps. Yeah, Zapier is great. Zapier. There is a free version of that. And you know what? That's one of the things that somebody shared that they wanted like to see more about the systems and the tools that I use. I'll be sharing those kinds of videos more inside my group, the messaging den. So again, if you're not already a member, please come join us and I'll be sharing some of those behind the scenes insights there. Yeah, Fran says, yep, that's correct, but you don't think it's as user friendly. Yeah. There's always more than one way to do anything. So I think I've shared, if you guys have heard my story, my non-branding part of my career was as a business analyst. And so my jobs was to go in, really learn about a business, and find solutions for them. Now, most of the time I would work for software companies. And so it was a software related solution, but it could be process related. And there's always more than one way to solve any problem. And I love doing that. So really uncovering what the problem is, and that translates over into helping my clients develop their brands, because like really helping you dig down to understand like the underlying stuff in your business so that you can build an amazing message around that. But, and being able to present different ways of doing things. So like the way that I do things is just one way. It happens to work best for me. But there's definitely more than one way to do anything. And there's pros and cons to all of them. And it also just depends on your own style. Like I know I'm a list person, so I know Asana works better for me. People, if you like, normally like are a post-it note person and you like to have post-its around, like Trello is a really good option. Or if you're more of a visual person, and Asana has boards now, it's still a little quirky. Like it doesn't work as smoothly as Trello, but it just depends on, how you like to work. So that all goes into factors into, finding a process that works for you. Cora asked, do I use the paid version of Asana? I do not. I use the free version. I have not yet needed any of the paid features. I mean, there's a couple things that'd be like, oh, that'd be nice, but not nice enough to pay for. Like one of them is like you can set due dates in the free version. In the paid version, you can choose a start date. So like I could, for example, plan something that I want due on January 31st, but I know it's a multi-day thing and I want to make sure my team starts it on the 22nd. Well, okay, so I don't have the start dates. We just trigger our tasks and break it down so we know that things are done by the 31st. So it wasn't like a big enough incentive for me to upgrade. And I know there's other things, but I just haven't needed it. So I love being able to use free tools if we can. I absolutely don't mind paying for stuff. I mean, I have the paid version of Zapier because it's such a great tool and I wanted the paid features. I have the paid version of Acuity for scheduling. So like, I will absolutely pay for features that I need, but if I can do what I need to do with the free version, I say go for it. You're welcome, Cora. All right. Any other questions you guys have today around goals? Like I said, inside my group, the Messaging Den, I'll just pop that URL back up here. You can search for the Messaging Den on Facebook or go to themessagingden.com. I want to know what your goals are for the year because I would love to check in with you throughout the year and just see how you're doing and encourage you and support you however I can. And I will be sharing all of my goals for the year, and I'll share my behind the scenes tools for how I'm tracking that. So, I'll do a separate one on Asana. So I'll do a couple lives this week inside my group to share that, but I'll do one, after I get my spreadsheet all done. I'm working on that this afternoon. I'll do one to share how I'm tracking everything, for my own goals, and I'd be happy to share my template with if you want a copy of that. So just head on over into the Messaging Den. There'll be a post going up here in just a few minutes where you can share your goals with me, and that'll help me find that same post so I can check back with you throughout the year. And if you have any other questions about that, let me know. Thank you so much for joining me live today. Oh, Cora says you're amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate your questions, your feedback. Thank you so much for joining me live. I'll be back here again next week, every Tuesday at 11 a.m. Eastern. Until then, don't settle for blending in with everybody else. I want you to truly own your place in the market. Stand out and be heard. Go out there and make your message roar. Have a wonderful day, everybody. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.